Welcome to the end of the world, survivors. You're tuned into the last voice on the airwaves, Harper, or as I've come to call myself, DJ Clueless, broadcasting from a radio station that still hums with life. I'm no longer alone, but winter is hard and the undead still roam outside. This is where we fight back. I'll be your guide through the madness, sharing survival tips, locations of safe havens, and the occasional existential crisis. The world's gone dark, and the dead outnumber the living, but there are some of us ready to fight back and to rebuild some of what we've lost. The only real question is, what's next? Stay tuned to Zombie Apocalypse Survivor Radio. Stick around if you're still alive. Welcome to Zombie Apocalypse Survivor Radio. This is DJ Clueless, and the song we just listened to was Don't Come Around Here No More by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I've started playing music. We debated on whether we should do that or not, because music attracts zombies, but the thought was we've been playing music inside for a while now, and zombies haven't come, so we're going to go ahead and broadcast some music. Because, it's nice to hear music on the radio. Also, we had guests or visitors. One of my jobs here at the station is monitoring radio chatter. I listen a lot, I make reports, and I talk to a lot of people. And I talk to a lot of people and I help them find safe havens. I take information about safe havens they know about. A lot of people want to, be around others, and all of the different settlements so far have their strengths. And so there's a lot of talk of import-export type stuff, which I guess is just a way of saying, hey, if you give me your green beans, I will give you a, I don't know, wind turbine? I don't know. That's outrageous right now. Although Malcolm knows some people who can make wind turbines. Material is the problem, not knowledge. So, and for DJ Clueless, that's actually pretty impressive. Because I don't have any knowledge like that. Again, I can tell you all kinds of things about literature and art. Not going to help you in a zombie apocalypse, but it might be diverting for a little bit during one. Anyway, so I was listening to radio messages, and a man came on saying that they were coming through town, but they had a zombie horde a few hours behind them. And if they stopped, the zombie horde would stop too. If they kept moving, the zombie horde would keep moving. And that didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But I believed they believed it, which was the important thing. Listeners, I have let cats back into the studio because they were very upset about being left out of the studio. So I am having to pause right now because a cat desperately needs attention. This cat's name is Shadow, and he is knocking over things on the tabletop here until he gets pet and the attention that he feels he is deserved and owed. So, say hi to the listener, Shadow. Oh, we're not going to talk. We're just going to knock things over. Okay. Anyway, sorry for the cat interruption. We're not going to smooth. We're not going to smooth that. No. All right, he had to be ejected from the lap because he attacked the microphone. Anyway, so this gentleman said that he couldn't come to where we were. It would put us in danger, but that he was basically south of Main Street. So that's about a mile and a half away. But per the conversation, he had horses he could not take care of. And he said, if I could grab a few people and meet him, he would happily give us these horses because, they were traveling a lot and they didn't need them anymore. So I was intrigued. You know me, I will always show up for free horses. But also he was very certain that the zombies were going to attack if that group was present. So I thought that was fascinating and wanted to know more. So Priya and Queenie stayed back. They are pretty good with me being an ambassador, an emissary, spokesperson for the group. You know, they're in charge, but they give me a lot of leeway to make alliances and make decisions like that. Like when I go to visit Malcolm in the plant, they consider it an ambassadorial visit of sorts. Not quite that formal, but I'm speaking for the group when I'm there. And that's important, both because it keeps my temper in check, because I'm not speaking just for me. I'm speaking for an entire group of people, so I can't lose my temper when Malcolm says something I don't agree with, which as much as I sing his praises, Malcolm says stuff I don't agree with frequently. Frequently to a lot, even. But that's part of being in charge. Not everybody's going to agree with you. And, you know, here, everybody kind of has a voice. But with Malcolm, he listens to everybody and he takes in what they say, but ultimately the choice is his. And the people who live there are fine with that. I am fine with that when I am visiting. And, you know, his decisions aren't something I have disagreed with so strongly that there needed to be any kind of harsh words. But I have strong opinions, and so I try to keep them tamped down and think, what is the good for my community, not what is the good for Harper. And it's a lot harder than you think. Or at least it's a lot harder for me, you know, because my initial reaction is always what's good for Harper. And it takes a minute to think what's good for the community. But Priya says that the second thought of thinking of the community is why I am okayed to speak for the community, because I do prioritize that. And I don't usually act on my first thoughts. They have lived with me long enough to know that, I guess. So they didn't feel the need to send me with anyone ostensibly in charge, but they did send me with about 5 or 6 people. And since they were giving us horses, um, we rode doubled up. You know, we took like 3 horses, and most of us rode with 2 people there because we figured they have a few horses. We'll need people to ride the horses back. So we take the trip out there, and I gotta say, oh, I miss vehicles, guys. I miss just getting in a car and going a mile away because it takes no time whatsoever, and even by horseback, it takes so much longer. However, not all day. So we get there, and this is not a few horses. This is dozens of horses. This is, holy crap, how are we going to get all of these horses back? This man said a few. He said a few, guys. He said a few, and there's 27 of them. There's 27 horses. Uh, Not even in the vocational building can we house 27 horses. So we did not say no, though. We did not say no because we know other communities that are desperate for horses. So here we are. But one of the interesting things is this man who asked me not to share his name. So I'm just gonna call him Captain. We'll just call him Captain. Like Captain, my Captain, no Captain, my Captain. Anyway, so Captain was basically letting us know all kinds of intel that he did not care if I shared. And one of them is one of his guys, since the zombies, has been able to just take machinery and do whatever the heck he wants with it and make it work. So the reason they don't need to have the horses anymore is they found military grade vehicles with military weapons, is how they phrased it. I was not given a tour. And their tech genius guy was able to convert them to run on alcohol. And there's a lot of alcohol around, and a lot of it hasn't gone bad. And, you know, you can make alcohol pretty easily too. So they have they have, you know, basically a still in a van. Uh, I don't even know if it's a van. Guys, I'm not a car person. It was a big SUV and it looked like it fit 8 people, and they'd folded down the seats and there was basically a tiny still in it, which they used to keep it going, or that's their plan anyway. So, what he said is this tech guy, when he's around, everything will run correctly, but if he's not around, they can't get anything to work to save their life. And so they had vehicles that were running off of alcohol for a while, and then he got separated from the group, and they had to ditch those vehicles and get horses. But anyway, all of that aside, I find it really interesting that one of the extra powers people are getting is tech savvy, because that's going to be helpful, you know? I'm not saying we should have a steampunk universe, but man, what if we made steampunk a real thing, guys? Because steam power was kind of one of the first ways we got the trains to run, right? Or boats? Something like that. Again, DJ Clueless, not real sure about those facts. I know them from history via English lit as opposed to history because I study history. So take that for what it's worth. But the other thing that they have done is they have killed a metric crap ton of zombies. Um, that same tech guy is apparently genius level at making traps and bombs. And the bombs have ball bearings in them and other things that, when they explode outward, definitely can take out a zombie skull or neck. Because, you know, you hit them in the neck, you hit them in the head, they're dead. Well, they're dead already. They're not moving? I don't know. They're more dead? They're more permanently dead. Anyway, so they have been setting off bomb traps all over the place. And he estimates that they have killed thousands upon thousands of zombies. And in his mind, there's still plenty of zombies, and the zombies are still coming. You know, there's still a lot of zombies to fight. The horde that they had on their tail was about 8 hours out. Before they stopped to mess with the vehicles, it was about 12 hours out. But there's a lot of them. Like, there's 24 horses, or sorry, 27 horses. My brain just keeps saying 24 to me. Because they have well over 30 men, you know, and they needed all of them. And now that they have the vehicles and their next stop is going to be to find more vehicles, they're going to go with that instead because it gets them away from the zombies faster. Captain was pretty certain, and he didn't let many of the other men talk to me. So I feel like whatever information he shared was the type of information that he wanted shared, not all of the information. And that's fine. I get being cagey. I get not wanting to share stuff, especially when you're talking to somebody who takes every encounter and broadcasts it. So I always ask, you know, is it okay for me to broadcast this? Is it okay for me to put this out? And he said he was fine with that. He had no problem with me doing that. But when I tell you that he was talking to me, and I guess the tech wizard that they had um, was barking orders, and everybody was falling in line. And I asked him, "So you guys military?" And he said originally yes. And he was there in Chicago, and that's when they first did these improvised bombs that would take out the zombie hordes. And he said when they started, they used flechettes, but ball bearings are easier to come by. You can grab them by the handful at most hardware type places. And so that's what they had been doing. And apparently, one of the walls of Chicago that because they walled the city up, um, but one of the walls had a breach, and they shot zombies for 2 days, and even with a lot of backup support, eventually did not have the ammo or personnel to continue and left. But since that time, and he estimated during that time that his group, of which he said only this number was left because they did lose quite a few people, and they've gotten separated and put back together, and apparently there's another group that they're meeting up later, so they kind of have people all over the place. But every single person that was involved with the wall breach in Chicago, when they are alone, they are followed by zombies. And when they are all together in a group like they are now, and again, he said there's still some men out, but you get 25 of them together or more, and apparently the zombies are just constantly dogging them, constantly behind them. And I told him that I'd lived at the station for a long time and not had that problem. And he said that he knew and he had been listening to the broadcasts, which always surprises me. I don't know how far of a reach this radio station has. I don't know who would listen to what is basically me babbling about the apocalypse while telling people to survive. Uh, but he was. And so he had heard about when I went a little crazy and spent some time on the roof with my own zombie trap. I lit a fire, I played music, and I stayed on the roof and just killed any zombie that came my way. And he remembered how after that, there were 5 zombies who followed me no matter where I went. And he said that when he's alone, there's about 7 to 10 zombies that always seem to be there, not necessarily ready to attack him. He's been lucky, he says, that most of them are shamblers or ankle biters, so they aren't fast. But he thinks if he was ever in the presence of a fast zombie, it would be all over for him because the zombies, all of his men have reported when they're out and about between 5 and 10 zombies, always there. Always there, even in places that aren't supposed to have zombies. So it's kind of wild. And the reason he didn't want to come to the station is he says even if he just visits for a little bit, the zombies will come wherever he has been and they will come to the station. And I'm like, how do they know where you are? And he had no answer for that. Um, so I don't know if I believe this or not. It seems a little far-fetched. I think when your duty is killing zombies and all you do all the time is kill zombies, that maybe you start giving them a little bit more powers. However, the part that I can't reconcile is I killed a crap ton of zombies and the zombies followed me for weeks. It was like I was being watched by them, like I was being monitored. Is she going to kill a bunch again? What is she going to do? And that same feeling of being watched, of being monitored, is very much how Captain described his experiences and the experiences of his men. So I am wondering if when you kill a bunch of zombies, if it somehow gets their attention, if it somehow, whatever they have that can be qualified as attention. I'm very curious about that because I find it very interesting that I've had this experience and a couple dozen of Captain's men have had this experience to the extent that he wouldn't get within a mile of us because the zombies that are following him, he said, it's a big, big horde. If we got any closer, you guys would need to hunker down. You still might. He recommends us staying indoors exclusively for the next couple of weeks, which is going to be hard with 27 expletive deleted horses. Like, dude, we can't stay inside and take care of over 200, not 200, 24 horses. Like, that's not how anything is working right now. Like, anyway. So, instead of hunkering down, we could only really spare about 15 people. So 16 of us are headed to Malcolm's with all of these horses. Luckily, in this group are quite a few people who are experienced with horses. There are 1 or 2 people in this group that I'm pretty sure have a cowboy fantasy, and that's why they're here. And that's cool. That's cool. If you have a cowboy fantasy and it means you help me, I am all for it. Yippee-ki-yay, whatever. So, so we are headed back to Malcolm's. I don't think I've been home longer than a week, guys. I'm tired. I don't know that I want to go on this journey again. But I am apparently the ambassador that makes these journeys. And I'm also the one that called Malcolm when I got back and said, hey, we have some horses and there's too many for us. And he said, how many? And we are able to keep, I think, 5 of these horses. So that leaves 22 of them for Malcolm. So he wants all of them. He said if I wanted to give him all 27, he would do that. And I am disappointed that I won't be riding my favorite Blueberry there and back, but there were so many other horses that everybody had to take kind of a horse they just met. And so that will be interesting because we haven't really been able to develop a trust between rider and horse. So we are hoping things go well. But if it comes down to it, we can walk and use leads for the horses. So one of the nice things is the horses seem to work well together, so that's good. Now, I'm not sure what it would look like if they didn't work well together, but I have horse people with me who are telling me that these horses work well together, and boy, isn't it nice, and so I believe them. And yes, it is nice. Yay! So anyway, we are pretty much packed up and ready to go. I just needed to make this broadcast real quick while they're doing the last little bits of putting supplies in. You know, it doesn't take very long to get to Malcolm's. I mean, longer than if we had a car. I should have asked them to loan us their tech wizard and give us a car, but a car would not get the horses there. We would need a lot of horse trailers, or one ridiculously large one that probably doesn't exist. So anyway, so yeah, we're gonna go back to Malcolm's, and Malcolm says he wants all the horses he can get. Malcolm's operation continues to grow, and he even has created some satellite settlements. So if he says he can use 22 horses and he has room for them, we're gonna bring him there. I suggested we try, like, we're in the middle of farm country here. Certainly there are barns everywhere. And I suggested, hey, what if we try and keep the horses and just find some barns here? But Queenie, Priya, and the people who really know horses said that that wouldn't work out well, and that the horses need to be where they are cared for daily, ridden daily, taken care of daily, like we do with our horses, you know. Like, I love Blueberry because I work with that guy all the time, you know? Um, so anyway, there's a lot about horses I don't know, guys. I just am overwhelmed sometimes about everything that I need to learn, and learning how to take care of horses and deal with horses. I've been slowly but surely getting that under my belt. I've been slowly but surely picking up on it. But I hate asking questions. I hate not knowing things. And if I could find a book on horses that would work as well, I would do that instead. Because I think that book learning works better for me because I'm a little bit more of an independent, let's say introverted nature. You know, that's why I like books to begin with, is it's not a group activity that I have to worry about. I can just be by myself and learn things. However, the zombie apocalypse has taught me that people are necessary. We need people. People need us. We are, sad to say, herd animals at heart. And we aren't happy unless we have community. And I never would have thought to have said that. I'm somebody who pre-apocalypse could have gone days or weeks just being in my house and amusing myself with work and hobbies. So finding out that my need for people actually was high, that it actually was a need and not just boy, it'd be nice to talk to somebody, was a little bit galling because I always thought I could be self-sufficient and completely by myself. You know, I often thought about, ooh, I wonder if I could be one of those people who works for the forestry department, someplace totally isolated where you just stay in a tower all day and watch for fires. That sounded awesome to me. But people are a requirement. We need them. And Malcolm seems to have a steady stream of people popping up at the plant. I have no idea what kind of advertising he's doing for that, or what kind of vetting of people he's doing for that. I just know that when we need manpower, Malcolm has it. And that's a good thing. That is a very, very good and positive thing. So, yeah, I kind of wished I could have spent the night there, but with there being a horde on the way, we're going. We're leaving. and kind of now. So I will be back. Priya and Queenie have promised to play what they call good music while I'm gone. I don't know if that means that they think I'm not playing good music or if they just wanted to assure me that they would be playing good music. Sometimes hard to tell. Didn't feel like a backhanded comment. Felt like they just meant, oh, we'll play all kinds of good music. Like they sounded excited about it. So I have no idea what their tastes are. But I guess we'll find out as we all tune in, right? So thank you for listening to the Zombie Apocalypse Survivor radio station. Hopefully the music that we play will cheer you up and bring a smile to your day. And if not, know that we are rebuilding and we are collecting things like horses and shoes and people who can take care of horses, people who can make shoes, people who can make alcohol. If you have any skill whatsoever, even if it's just in English literature like me, you can still be utilized in the apocalypse. We need manpower for everything. The world goes on turning, and we all have to eat and sleep and go to the bathroom, and all of that takes labor. All of that takes people. And even if your only skill set is being able to tell stories, yeah, find a settlement. They will be able to use you. One of the things right now is entertainment. You know, what are we doing for entertainment? We got to find some fun stuff. And, you know, here I've been reading stories aloud. So have Queenie and Priya. We have a couple different stories going on at various times. But the other thing is, you know, we can't have big outside parties because the zombies will come. But you can have inside parties. We've played music inside, we have sang, we have danced, we have had a real good time, and the zombies did not show up to spoil the party. Now, if we did that outside, I think they'd be there in a hot second. So, survive. Keep going, no matter how hard it is. Even if you think that you can't, put one foot in front of the other. Find other people. Find a community that can work with you and that you can work with. And if the first community you try doesn't work, find a different one. There is going to be something for everybody out there. There's not a lot of us humans left, but those of us left are gathering, we are rebuilding, and we would be happy to take you in. So survive, survive, survive. This is DJ Clueless, and I'll be updating you guys when I get back from the plant for the second time. Have a good one. This is Harper signing off for now. Remember, the world is still turning, even if it feels like we're standing still. Survive, adapt, endure. As the dust settles, we are rising again. We are rebuilding from the ashes. Until then, keep moving, keep fighting, and whatever you do, survive.